He's counting 10, he's slamming the door on 1, 2, and no one owned up, so the session wrapped up there. And I found out later it was actually Jordan.
Welcome everyone to the Fighters of Perth, where we aim to try and get to know our fighters a little bit better, get to know their story, and hopefully make a bit of a friend along the way. With me today is the renowned Danial Williams, Mini T. I think you've earned that status. For anyone that doesn't know Danial, I would say easily over 40 fights, quite a few state titles. He's got some caged Muay Thai titles, 2 or 3 world titles, something like that.
Yeah.
He's fought and won championships, so he's done a bit of everything. You know, Muay Thai fights, MMA fights, and fought some of the most dangerous men in the world. So, Danial, thank you so much for coming down today and jumping on the show.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's cool what you're doing, man. I've seen, obviously, your last podcast, and I just love the setting, and I haven't done anything this professional in terms of podcasts, so yeah, thanks for having me.
Man, I try. So just to get everyone just a bit caught up to speed, tell us about how you found Khao-Sok Muay Thai, the gym that you train primarily Muay Thai out of. How did you stumble across Khao-Sok, and how did you go from there to obviously fighting? And tell us a bit of your history there.
Yeah, well, always wanted to do Muay Thai. My mum being Thai, I've known it ever since I can remember. And as kids, me and my brother were fortunate enough to try basically every martial art. You know, I'm talking like Hapkido, Ninjutsu, like at very young ages. Yeah, we've just done a lot of martial arts. And we always wanted to do Muay Thai just because of our mum's heritage, and I was actually born there. And it wasn't until there was an advert in the local shopping centre. There was a Muay Thai class in Willerton, which is where I'm from. And we're like, sweet. My dad just seen the ad, rang the dude straight away, and then organised a session the following week. Then me and my brother went down there. And that was taken by a dude called Grant Wilkie. And he used to be at Khao-Sok when they first started, when Darren Kurovic started Khao-Sok back in 1996. So with Grant, he wasn't at Khao-Sok then because the gym closed because unfortunately Darren was battling cancer. He had some, crazy. He got, basically terminally ill, got told he was going to die. And what a champion he is, beat that. And so the gym Khao-Sok was actually closed, and I was training with this guy called Grant. He called the gym Jingzhou Siam Boxing, which translates to like kangaroo, Jingzhou from Thai to English. And and then we went to multiple gyms with him. And then one day Darren, when he got better, he let us use Khao-Sok gym. So I went down there. That's when we first got introduced to the old shed that we used to train at.
Some very good memories there.
Yeah, and then of course Grant stopped. He stopped being a coach. And then Darren pretty much reignited Khao-Sok, and then that's how we just fell straight into Khao-Sok. When I say we, me and Jordan, we started pretty early in the shed, and then transitioned to the actual Khao-Sok gym.
Yeah, I actually didn't know any of that history. Obviously, being from Khao-Sok, I didn't know about any of that pre-shed era, so that's actually very fascinating.
Me and Jordan had a pretty interesting coach, man, Grant. Like, I seen him the other day, he popped into work. He's always in my life. Interesting dude, a lot of wild dude, we were, like, very young. He was just no fear sort of attitude. And he was a crazy dude, and he sort of instilled that into us. For instance, some dude farted in the gym once.
Okay.
And I just had this memory of it, and then Grant went absolutely ballistic, and he stunk of bourbon as well, and he just went absolutely ballistic. I was probably the oldest, so me and Jordan were the oldest in the class at that time, being 11 years old or 12 years old or something.
That was the oldest?
And he just went ballistic, swearing. He smashed the stereo. He's like, who farted? And then he's like, I'm going to count to 10. If no one owns up, everyone's going home. So he's counting to 10. He's slamming the door on 1, 2. And no one owned up, so the session wrapped up there. And I found out later it was actually Jordan.
By the way, Jordan, the same Jordan we had on the second episode of the show. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But that's how we got introduced into Muay Thai.
Really tough, man.
Crazy Mr. Miyagi coach. Big respect to Grant, man. He's a brother of mine. And he's just an interesting guy.
Yeah, wow. Did I ever tell you, man, that you were actually pivotal in my starting of Muay Thai and actually coming to Khao-Sok? I don't know if I ever told you the story, did I?
Nah, you're going to tell the story.
No, I'm going to tell the story first. Yeah. So when I wanted to get started in Muay Thai, there's a bit of a story of how I actually found out about cow sock, but I won't go into that. But so came across cow sock, and I knew that I wanted to get into fighting, so I was looking for a fight gym, and so found cow sock, went onto YouTube, and there wasn't many videos at that time, but your fight with Jesse Corona was on there.
Yeah.
You look like, I don't know, 14 or whatever in that video. And I just remember watching it. I was like, man, because obviously I think you got dropped in a round. You came back and went on to win the fight. And I was just like, yeah, I've got to go train there. This guy just looks pretty good. And I wanted to train there, and also wanted to train with you. And I think when I got there, you weren't there for a while, but that's all right. But so. Thank you for helping me out.
That's cool to hear, man. I remember that fight as well. I remember I shaved my own head for that fight. Had put some lines in my hair, and it was all crooked, and even got a lip tattoo. I still got it. You see it?
Is that from then?
Yeah, that was that fight. I don't know, just being young and wild, and a friend had a tattoo gun, and I was like, oh, I want mini T on my lip, and then that looked a bit weird. He's like, can you add the 13 as well? And then I think that fight, I remember just having this fat lip, absolute idiot. But it's like no one's gonna see it anyway. But that was a wild fight, man. Because I got dropped, and a lot of my fights I got dropped early, and then came back from that. And it's funny because I literally thought in my head, I was like, man, no matter how many I'll get dropped every time, but I'll always get back up. And had this fight in Japan, and I was even written that on the interview that they did with me, and I was like, even if he drops me, I'm gonna get back up and beat him, and if I don't knock him out, I'll buy everyone ice cream. And then that fight was the first time I ever got knocked out in my first career. It was a bit of a karma riding there, but. So
did you buy everyone ice cream?
I bought the guy the liaison officer of the show. This was the K1 days. I bought him ice cream. He got a photo of it just to let people know that he did buy me ice cream, but pretty embarrassing moment.
Yeah,
my fight career.
Pretty funny though. At least it's a cool story now. Something I've always respected about you, and I've really liked, is your ability to get knocked down multiple times in a fight. Or maybe two times, whatever, but still, and come back and win a fight, I wanted to ask you, what do you tell yourself in that moment? Because, there's been times where I get hit with a good shot or get dropped, and, there's negative thoughts coming oh, this guy's better than me. I've pretty much lost it now. How do you overcome that and go back, go on to win the fight and knock them out?
It's probably because I'm shitting myself at that point. I've been dropped, and it's like, holy shit, he's winning the fight now, so just go forward, because you're already losing. I think that's the kind of mentality that sort of switches. But honestly, if I tell anyone that's starting the fight game, don't do that. Protect yourselves, fight safe. Your brain's an important tool, and there's ways to fight smart. And I was a very chaotic fighter, still am, still trying to change that a little bit, obviously, especially the last fight as well, getting another knockout. So I've had 2 knockouts in my career. But it's I take this approach from Jack Della Maddalena. He has had 4 first-round knockouts in a very, the UFC, and he hasn't had a scratch on him. And, his coach, or our coach, Ben Vickers, he's like, he prefers to have a lopsided victory rather than a war. Whereas my mentality before that was always like, let's have a war, let's have a war with this opponent. But it's like,
I think that comes from the Muay Thai kind of background, right? Because it's all about
man.
Even matches. Let's get it let's put a show on. Not that that's not an MMA, but I think that's really instilled in that Muay Thai mindset.
It is, and that's exactly that. Stand and bang. Do not step back.
No movements. Stand right there.
You go into the fights knowing that you're going to get hit. So, it's a different sort of mentality, different approaches. But, you can't do too much of that. You can't have too many wars. You see the guys that have a lot of wars, how much they're doing in their career, but how long they stay there. But at the same time, too, I'm very big on my recovery too, with the brain health. Straight after the last knockout, I'm straight into learning a new skill, trying to rewire the brain. Obviously, doing a lot of my deep meditation practices, bit of plant medicines, fungi medicines. Yeah, and I think the big thing was learning a new skill. That's like if you have a bit of brain trauma, something at my work, I got something called neurofeedback.
Okay.
And it's a brain training software, basically helps you meditate. And from what I learned from that is, just rewiring the brain. And for me, doing after the last fight was actually switching into southpaw and just practicing new combos just to try something different and just get the brain health to keep going and just keep sort of staying optimal.
Yeah, that sounds smart, man, because you've only got one brain, right, for the rest of your life.
That's it, man. You got to take care of it. And I always look, my sort of future goals are always past fighting, like I got a lot of goals after fighting, but
Can you share one? Sorry to interrupt you, but share.
Oh, I just like getting a block with my partner, man. Like, she's right big into all the kennel work, and just like we've had a beautiful dog called Genghis, and he was a rescue dog. A lot of issues, and we can't actually let anyone look after him. So when we want to go on holidays and stuff, like he kind of has to be with us, or because we just no kennels will take him. So we kind of want to take that approach, have our own block, and just be able to take in any dog, and that's just something that me and my partner are looking forward to. Just doing the small work now, like doing a lot of, helping out with land conservation and stuff. But I could talk for ages about that. So,
all right, that's fine. Well, we'll bring it slightly back to Muay Thai. Obviously, I can see it's a lot, I don't always see it, but with this lighting, it helps quite a few of those scars, probably from obviously the Muay Thai fights, the MMA fights.
Self-inflicted, some of them as well.
Well, which has been probably the nastiest one, and what's the story? Which fight was that?
Ooh, the nastiest one. That's a good question. I think the nastiest one I've had was, I had a fight in Koh Samui.
Yeah.
And it was like one of my, I think it was my second stint I did at a gym in Thailand called Santai Muay Thai in the north, Chiang Mai. And I had like, the first 6 months I stayed there, I had 7 fights. And I also had a full moon party that I wanted to go to as well. And full moon party is obviously in the south, so I thought, if I can get a fight in the south, that would be awesome because it's a bit lower money and they pay really well there when you're talking of like Thai money and Muay Thai fighting. So one of my coaches in the north actually organised me a fight in Koh Samui. And man, so it was just like the South Thais are known for elbowing a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember being back in the change room, waiting to go out. I was sitting next to my opponent, and because I can understand a bit of Thai, his coach or one of his friends or something asked him like, "Hey, how you gonna knock him out? How are you gonna win?" He's like, "I'm gonna knock him out with elbows in round 3." And I was like, "No, you're not, man." Yeah. Anyway, he went crazy in round 3. I got that big cut in my head and another scar as well, but he didn't finish me in round 3, so I just capitalized round 4, and then won the fight.
Yeah, that's good.
Darren Kurovic was there as well. He was there on holidays, so it was cool to have him in the corner.
That must make a big difference as well when you're, either interstate or overseas, actually having your coach there with you rather than just someone else. Because I know a lot of times when people come over, they'll just have some gym, like a local gym, be their corner.
Yeah, I'm big on I do like good cohesion in the corner. I've definitely had some good cornermen that got me out of some sort of bad mental states when you go back to the round and you're like, fuck, you've already lost in your head. So I do I think it's important having a good corner. Yeah.
Is there any fights that you would have no intention of having a rematch? Like, everyone's like, yeah, I'll fight this guy again, or I'll have this fight again. Is anyone you're like, you know what, even if they offered me, I'd say no? You're a bit of a tough guy, so maybe you'd say yes to it. Yeah. But out of them, maybe the least. Who are you least likely or least wanting to have a rematch with?
There was this dude I fought in Thailand. It was just the weight class, man. It was the first time I really fought someone just too big, and he stopped me with leg kicks in round 1 or round 2. I think it went to the second round. Yeah, I have no intention of doing that again. It was just way too big. But yeah, other than that, I do want to rematch everyone else. But then again, Super Leg, I wouldn't want to rematch him straight away, especially in kickboxing rules, because, he's definitely another level, and just the power that he had as well. So, but I'll be open to that as well. Like, just because, just my brain is just kind of like, you always think of other ways that you can beat someone after you've had a loss and what you can do differently, and you can reflect on that. So I would never say no to that. But yeah, to be smart, I wouldn't do that straight away, that rematch.
So I think, even I didn't know. So the rules there are different. You said it's the kickboxing rules for that fight. Like, what's the main difference? I mean, is it just no elbows, no knees, no clinching, or what? How did it impact you?
Yeah, I think it's kickboxing rules. So big gloves for one. So yeah, you wear the big gloves, and it's just basically punching and kicking, and you can knee, but I think they only allow one knee. And you can't catch kicks, which is a bit confusing because I got told in the rules meeting that you can catch kicks for a couple of seconds, but not for too long. And I did that in the fight, and I got told off for even catching the kick and throwing a strike. So yeah, it's basically they just want kickboxing rules, punching and kicking, not too much grabbing, not too much clinching, and that's basically the difference.
Right.
And the big gloves, it was kind of it was weird putting on the big gloves because
you've had the small gloves for so long now.
Yeah, so long now. I've had the small gloves. I spar with them, and so it was different having big gloves on your hand.
Yeah, I mean, even from all the way back in the cage Muay Thai days, does John O'Par still do cage Muay Thai, or that's long gone now?
Nah, it's been long gone for a while, but he definitely set the scene, which led on to obviously one championship doing cage Muay Thai as well. So he's a bit of a pioneer in that area. And it's cool to actually jump on one of these pioneer shows. Memory I have forever.
Yeah, was it I don't think it was the first. Was it the second or third one that you jumped on and started getting to cage Muay Thai?
I think it was the second. Hey, CMT2. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or was it CMT1?
I felt like it was the first one, but I feel like I might be wrong as well.
Yeah, actually, no, I think it was the second one or the third one. But, that was wild, man, because I never used those gloves before. Even in training, we didn't really wear them in training. I don't think I owned a pair. So it was putting them on first time in the fight and then just realizing that, to be fair, my defense is pretty shit anyway with the big gloves. So just having the small gloves on, I was getting tagged a lot. I got 2 8 counts. I fought a dude called Aaron Lee, and he gave me an 8 count the first round and the second round. And I literally just thought in my head, like, I cannot defend. Just go. And then just kept going because I felt like I couldn't defend. It was just that extra with the big gloves. When you get hit, it's like your whole head kind of, you feel it everywhere. But with the small gloves, it's that sting, and it's really like profound in that one area where you hit. It's like, boom, like just
less surface area, right? So it's just very focused.
Yeah, a bit more of a shock. But I feel with the big gloves, it's like if you get a big shot, you feel it everywhere.
Okay, so you obviously you've had a few fights in UFC. What is that like? Obviously, getting the invite into that or getting that whole opportunity, and it's a bit of like sometimes like how to put it. Like, you got to kind of pinch yourself. Like, this is really, like, I'm fighting on ONE FC on such a big stage? Or is it just like, whatever now?
Nah, it's cool, man. It's really cool. Like, it's just how wild I got onto it because...
Yeah, what happened there?
I mean, like, my coach, Darren at the time, he always told me too, like, when I transitioned to MMA, went to scrappy MMA, wanting to pursue my MMA career, he's like, because there was a time when they started the Super Series, the Muay Thai show, and they were getting a lot of Muay Thai fighters, like foreign Muay Thai fighters, to fight on the show. And Darren said, he's like, one phone call, like, we'll get you on, like, if you want to fight. And at the time, I already made the transition to MMA, so I'm like, I'm going to pursue with this. And and then basically there was a point in my career where it was COVID, so it wasn't much opportunity to fight. I was having a pretty terrible year, man. Like, just when I say terrible, I mean like just for my health kind of thing, just drinking a lot of uncertainty. And just one time I emailed one championship after a pub night. There was like a fighter interest page, and I just told him like, initially I thought that because I thought the shows were fighting in Thailand, I have a Thai citizenship. So I'm like, man, I could actually get into Thailand. They're probably looking for fighters because it would be hard, like with the whole pandemic kind of thing, getting people into certain countries. But it wasn't. It was in Singapore anyway. But anyway, emailed them, and then 10 days later, I forgot about it because I was quite drunk from the pub. And then I got a message from one of the matchmakers who I knew was a matchmaker there. And yeah, I was walking the dog with my partner, and then I'm like, holy shit, one championship. It's telling me to call him. And then as I called him, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they offered me Rodtang? And then that's exactly what happened. So it's kind of spooky how it all happened, but I think it's meant to be, man. I think a lot of things in life are meant to be. And yeah, so it's one championship that's always been on my mind. I felt like because they were started doing Muay Thai and MMA and kickboxing, I'm like, I want to be a pure martial artist, fight any discipline. So it was just something that I've always had my eye on anyway, and it was just timing was everything.
So it kind of lined up.
Yeah, and I got to fly on this plane that was empty, do all these mad COVID tests, and it was just quarantine in the hotel in Singapore. Only left the hotel to go to the venue and fight. Silent crowd, and then come back to the hotel again, and then come back to Australia and then spend 2 weeks in quarantine. It was just a mad time.
And that was for the Rodtang fight.
Yeah, it was for the Rodtang fight.
Why did I think that you had a fight in ONE FC before Rodtang? So Rodtang was your first. That was the first one you did.
Very first.
Wow, one. And you probably did that on like a week's notice or something crazy like that.
Yeah, a couple of weeks' notice, but there was like 4 weeks before the actual event is when I started talking to him, and then they told me so Rodtang's opponent might not be able to get in, but we'll get you another fighter, so you get matched for him. So I was definitely getting prepared for it, but at the same time too, it was just coming from straight off the couch, unhealthy as shit, not even holding, kicking pads, my training was minimal, to trying to start a fight camp, and then the first 2 weeks, hand injury, super sick. And then when they actually flipped it to Rodtang, it's like, all right, let's train.
Yeah. You're kind of used to, though, from my memory, I mean, I haven't trained with you in a long time, but of kind of training with 3 weeks left, not doing much before that, kind of coming from no training, 3 weeks, absolutely killing yourself. I mean, I remember the Saturdays where we'd be doing a fight camp. We were already 3 weeks into the fight camp, then you walk down the hill. 3 weeks later, we just finished training your tires. You just walk down the hill, then you got to try catch up, and then you're yakking your hole, and then training, and you're still going obviously to fight really well. So you're kind of used to that kind of getting ready on such a short notice. Is it just something now that you've just kind of become accustomed to, or do you still try to get ready about 6-8 weeks out now?
I think the biggest thing, man, I'm always thinking of fighting. It's not like this fight camp thing for me. It's I'm always trying to keep the body healthy, watching fights. I feel like I'm always training, and you got to take these opportunities as well. So if you get offered a fight and I say I've made a mistake, haven't been in the gym too much, I'm not going to say no, because you could be dead tomorrow. You got to take these mad opportunities, and it's shame on me if they're not staying ready all the time. At the same time, I'm still yeah, okay, mate. I might, back in the day, I might have partied a lot in that, but I'm still that's just one night of that, and then the rest of the week I'm still eating healthy, and I'm still stretching at least. I'm still doing the bare minimum stuff for keeping my body healthy for longevity in life. But it's not like I'm going straight off the couch. But yeah, skill wise, it's always been the challenge when I take the short notice fight, and I'm definitely trying to stop that now. Especially because it worked for me here, but it's failed me as well. But I think the best thing to do is just make sure your mind's the most prepared, and that helps when you have a bit more time to prepare for a fight. So anyone out there, just always,
don't follow his example.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What is it like seeing your photo in Times Square?
Yeah.
Dude, that was insane.
It was
when I saw it, I was like, no way. Doesn't matter. Your face is on Times Square. That's insane.
Yeah, that was cool, man. That was cool. The Rodtang fight had a bit of a clip, and it's just cool. That fight paid a lot of dividends for me, even though I lost. It set me up to get the contract with ONE, and my stock rose a little bit just for fighting him. So even though I lost, it was still, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, people have mad respect. I mean, even if he bowed to you at the end, just going the distance and putting it on him,
No alcohol in this, eh?
There might be something else in there. You'll find out soon. Why is the walls getting all bendy?
Oh, awesome.
Talking about that, well, not specifically about that. You do the flotation tanks, right? Altered states. So, you tell me, how did you come up with the name Altered States? Like, what do you think attracts you about these? From what I understand, our conversations in the past, you have a bit of an attraction to altered states of consciousness.
Yeah.
Like, is that tied into it? Like, tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, man, it's funny because we're going to go through a rebrand soon. So,
Okay.
yeah. But sticking to that topic, Altered States comes from, there was a movie, one of the original, the first movie about floating, which is 1980s, bit of a cult film. It was called Altered States. And that's why we picked the name, because it was a good fit. It's a floating movie, and no one's used that name. And I'm into the altered states of consciousness and the altered states economy of like reading this book called Stealing Fire, and it talks about the altered states economy actually, and how we as humans like spend a lot of money on altered states economy, whether it be having a coffee to change our mindset. So there's a lot of things out there to just, change your mindset and stuff. But obviously, like being a teenager, I was very open to, I guess, psychedelics, if I'm honest. If I look back at myself now, like, what the fuck was I doing?
Okay.
But a bit more open-minded, a bit more free-spirited, and that's kind of led to that sort of name. It was a good fit.
What's changing your perspective now? You say you've changed a little bit now. You say, well, what was I doing? So how do you view it now? Do you see it as something that's a bit more potentially dangerous? Yeah,
I think there's a good place for psychedelics and spirituality and whatever, but I think there's just certain settings, everything, and just say the way I got involved with it recreationally, like parties and stuff like that. Yeah, it just wasn't used how it could be in the max potential that this stuff can happen. I have these, say, psychedelics or psychedelic therapy or stuff like that. I'm just using it wrong, man. I was just partying, getting out of my mind and stuff like that. And, say if I had a child and I knew what he was doing stuff that I would be like, fuck, I would be worried, because I found myself in different places, hanging around like different people, some scary moments in my life, it's just it's not a very safe sort of route to go down.
Oh man, I agree with that. I've got some perspectives on that now as well, different perspectives.
That's it.
But
perception is everything.
Yeah, of course. Now, one of my intentions with the show, and I haven't really had the opportunity to do it in the first few episodes, sort of started getting into the last one, is I want to make it more than just Muay Thai, your fight, your history. I mean, that's great, and I want people to know about all that. But the intention was always to try to get to know you as a person, your thoughts, your ideas. So asking some more kind of interesting questions, philosophical questions. So we've got a bit of time. I might try to throw one at you now. Just a classic. What do you think happens after you die?
Oh, shit. Enter the DMT mode. Oh, man. I for one, I believe... perception is everything. So my perspective is like, I feel like our energy or whatever stays going. So right now we're just experiencing ourself in a human form. So when we pass away, like that energy will, for me, like could go into a plant, it can go into another person, go into space. It just stays on, because I like the idea of like energy stays together. That's how the universe works. So the atoms or whatever it is. So that's why when people say, oh, like the coincidence, I met you before, or it's like we're meant to be together, it's like maybe you were in a past life or past form, because just how the universe, positive atoms or whatever, like negative, we stay together. So whatever energy we have now, it's kind of like that's the universe is made of all different energies, and we kind of stay the same no matter what. I don't know if you grasp your head around that, but
no, I can see what you're saying. So would you say that energy is conscious, like the consciousness goes on, or you as Daniel or any form, I guess, by self-identity, does that move on?
I just say, the energy of the, but so I don't think, because obviously, like, I don't remember things. I'm not always going to be fully present because this is a different form that I'm experiencing right now. But say when I pass on, that energy, whatever's in me, is going to live on to something else, whether it be parallel universe, whether it be a star, whether it be things I can't comprehend, whether it be another human form. That's I just feel like there's no coincidence of I think I've been with my partner for forever, and my family, I've been with them forever.
Right. So do you think those energies get attracted to?
So it stays the same. That's what I think. But I'm open to anything, any sort of perception. What about you?
Oh mate, let's not go to what I think. I don't think we have enough time for that. You can have a bit of a chat after if you're interested.
Well, same. I definitely go a little bit deeper on that.
I've got more more biblical view of the world.
Of course, of course. So
we can get into that.
Yeah.
But, ultimately it's about what you think, than be chewing up the time.
Yeah, but all I know is if I pass away, people that love me I'm still always going to be around in some sort of energy. Some sort of energy.
Some sort of. Do you think that comes from a desire to have some sort of afterlife, or is there something that you've seen that makes you feel like that is a fact or that is a true, that's actually what happens?
Maybe it's things from my own personal experiences will led me to that. Just things that, say, what I've learned in school, I feel like I've learned experienced a lot of things outside of the box of what I've learned in school to make me think things that you can't exactly comprehend
or put into words.
Put into words kind of thing.
It's kind of like a psychedelic experience, right?
Exactly.
That
was a big part of my high school career, ended diving into that sort of world. Like I said, I wasn't very smart, very the power you see is people going through these therapies now. They're guided, set in settings, everything. They can use the power of that. But interesting questions, eh? My mind's just going, shit.
Sorry, man, it's putting you on the spot a little bit.
Not really. I like it.
Good. Last one. What do you think the meaning of life is?
Holy shit.
And you can think of it as you can either go macro, for everyone or us as as the human species, or you can think of it like an individual level.
I think the meaning of life is just to experience it. That's all. That's how I just experience you in this human form, whatever that may be. You might be sad, you might be happy, but it's just to experience it. Yeah.
I remember you shared I think it was you that shared it with me. Remember the egg?
Yes. The egg, man.
The egg. So, I don't really hold that view.
I think you can still Google it, the egg.
Yeah, it's for anyone,
philosophy kind of,
It's like a little short story, but
I do, that's another, I guess that's another thing where my brain can go. It depends on what day you have me in perception, but I just think you are me, we're just, everyone is everyone, we're just experiencing ourselves subjectively, and maybe you aren't real because I've visualized you right now, and it's the way that I'm creating all these things right now, and who's to say that's not true too? So I like the egg house. Everyone, you've experienced everyone's life before.
Yeah.
That sort of
it's like you are Hitler and you're also the people he killed. I would. I think it's a pretty cool idea. It's pretty.
Viewers are going to be like, "What the fuck? You've been knocked out too many times, man."
Well, man, that's probably contributed, But I think it's cool to explore these kind of questions, man. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with every idea. Like I said, I don't agree with everything including the egg, but I think anything that, like you said, can shift your perspective. You can see things from a different angle.
At the time when I read the egg, that's all that makes so much sense. And then now it's kind of there's a lot of things in there that's I have a different take on it.
Yeah.
Can't be specific about it, but I definitely feel the same as you.
Man, it's been very awesome having you on the show. I wish I had some more time, but we'll leave it there.
That's sick. I love the questions, man. Good stuff.
My pleasure, man. Have a good day.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
No worries.